During the 1990s, I was regularly commissioned by the BBC to create poems out of current news stories for various Radio 4 programmes, including Today. One week, the headlines contained "Washing Powder War." Unilever, which owns Persil, had brought out a powder which they called New Persil Power. Procter & Gamble, which owns Ariel Bold, had retaliated by taking out huge ads claiming that New Persil Power rotted boxer shorts. Unilever was threatening court action. The Independent on Sunday decided to test the powders. Because this was the BBC, some of the company names have been changed slightly. The multinational company Unicrank withdrew 100 million from the bank, drained universities of graduates with first-class honours degrees and first-class debts. Physicists who are at home in Hawking's eerie space-time of black holes and grand unified theory, biochemists who might, with a stroke of luck, culture, yes, life itself from scraps of muck, and hired these future Nobels for huge dosh to boost their soap powder. Our improved wash, they boast, contains a new accelerator, manganese something or other for greater penetration into those naughty stains. They launch a series of wham-bang campaigns. Housewives are called on by charming young men who make them do their wash over again, not in your usual powder, but in ours, to reveal that our bleach has extra powers, though bleach is never mentioned, only brightness and whiter than that other powder's whiteness. A poet on circuit gets a whole load of wonderful stories, not to mention the fabulous excuses people make for not coming to hear you, and above all for not buying your books. One of the best was from a woman in New York who said she couldn't possibly buy a book of mine because the price was the price of a week's cat food. And so for her, wherever she may be, since you've chosen to buy a week's cat food instead of my book, may I visit you this weekend with a shovel and check through your cat litter for nuggets of wisdom? Well, that isn't published in The Day the Grass Came, but the rest of this evening's programme is. Liberation. When the soldiers came, we were asleep. In the dark hour just before dawn, crashes, the panic of kicked-in doors, the clatter of wheel rattle in our street. Then we heard shouts, "Liberation! We're here to rescue you! Restore the rightful government! Wake up, brothers and sisters! Learn to be free again!" We try to sidle away. A few of us, cowed ghosts in the threatening gloom, slink from confronting skilled murderers hard at work. Officers' words of command swamped by the screams of victims. Now quick, into the tunnel. Puddles and mud, a stumbling floor strewn with large boulders and dangerous holes. We have 2 sick children to carry. Hurry! The wood at the tunnel's end, ancient forest, tangles of thicket thorn traps. Hills make it easy to lose all sense of orientation. No, we can't rest till we're well hidden. Hope the thorns will spring back and hide our path, prevent soldiers from guessing our route. Let's find our way through, down to the sea, and then a new life somewhere, very far from our liberated country. Mind, that creeper's poisonous. Those men, those killers, truly believe they are freeing this nation from slavery by forcing corpses to cheer for liberty. Most of the key experiences in my life have happened suddenly and by surprise, like a time when an American film director I'd never met, but who'd heard one of my poetry shows, suddenly asked me out of the blue, would I like to dramatize a Native American legend of the Haida people into a movie screenplay? Yes. Nothing remains of the village, except for one split burial pole, Pisa tower leaning, dragged off course by tugging fingers of greedy sedge and creeper that struggle up any ladder offered to reach the distant light. One cracked tree trunk, each year losing a little more of its human odour, until the plants and beetles have quite obliterated everything which bears the trace of human craft. Here were no pharaoh pyramids. The people who built this settlement knew very well how utterly daft it is for men with pea-sized heads to think their work was ever meant to last much longer than a moth's life. They carved poles from volatile wood, then watched grasses, fungi and moss smudge their carving, and thought that good. Down the long slope, down we trudged. The caves opened to greet us, deep spirals of booming chant. Strange eyes, ancient as ooze, peered from the sludge. We reached the record depth of sleep. We walked on slowly. Then askew, straddling the jagged floor, that flicker of poisoned tongue, that rasp of jaws, black warty skin and mould-warped scales, the nightmare demon blocked our way. Caught in a crack of one of its claws was a thing like the song of whales curving in rainbows far away, a brightness and a vanishing. Was this the pearl of price? 1842, an incident in Llanafnfawr, Powys. Pine trees rustling, needle-strewn path, darkness with slashes of silver shimmer, a glade, full moon. I feel the hair stand on my arms, my chest. Black wrath muddies my sight, lead heartbeats hammer my ribs, my ears lunge at the air. Howl, run, sniff the wind's silence. Somewhere I'll find, but what? Square shapes, strange smell, a memory of softness. Leap, square hole strengthened with bars, more smells, the female, hot writhings, what sweet yelps, easily mounted and yet a further need, my teeth, her neck, I drink till blood, float into her, swayed in rich dreams of womb-warm love and growling seed. Then blackness crashes down and shuts my nose eyes, mind eyes, sleep of screams. Next morning, Bryn, his face streaked, splattered with blood, was wandering round the farm, howling like hounds. His wife lay dead, carotid artery slashed, neck tattered skin rags. Neighbours raised the alarm. Bryn, tried for murder, howls, never said another word for 30 years of madhouse life imprisonment. Well, murder weapon was never found. Why marks like wolf fangs under her ears and chin? And what were those footprints of a huge dog on the damp patch of ground? The world completely controlled by humans, run by Lord Manager, who may be human, may be a computer, but it makes no difference. Lord Manager sat at his swivel throne, surrounded by switches and thinkerphones, bouncing emails by satellite to make them arrive the previous night. All the emails ever said was, "Read your P as B, take B as read." For 59 minutes every hour, Lord Manager demonstrates his power, broadcasts himself, surrounded by monitor screens. His picture repeated 100 times, his voice synth message, "Look what man can achieve with machines, instant computerization." On the day the grass came, Lord Manager sat at his swivel screen, digitized, synthesized, clean, supreme. But then, slow, Slow on that gusty April day, slow, slow on that gusty April day, suddenly came the grass, slow, 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 and then faster, first as green fishes swirling the asphalt lake, writhing and swathing and turning and breathing the black air, crawling with dragons of grass, clawed up the ash slopes, fly-catching lizards of grass, flickering over the ladders, lightning-tongued grass, licking spattering petals of rust, and spitting out seeds of dragonfly, hummingbird, mayflies of grass, spinning over the squashed gasometers, flinging the chains and tossing the sleepers aside in a thunder of galloping bison, as rye, warm-blooded herds of rye, trample over the green springing plains. Days squeeze themselves into matchboxes to escape from this kangaroo grass. Terrible seeds bombarding the perspex where the last men cling to their speech modules. Time is crushed into wafers, grass seed vaster than vultures, pampas splits skyscraper ceilings, peels concrete off like paper. Years flutter past like oat flakes, men flash out of wombs like skeletons, centuries dead. On a lighter note, grails, quests, wars, words like honour. Oh, I know you're not fond of shovelling dung day after day. The chores we take for granted, you grudge doing. Tell the king you're wanted here, at home, to build your loving wife a bigger cowshed. Well, I suppose you must go. If you're not killed, come home safe, get drunk, make a lot of noise. Women, we do love you, though you're such boys. God bless America, land of the free, down in dictators, largesse in liberty, even to people who don't appreciate Uncle Sam's rejig of their nation state. Cowardly Japs caught Uncle Sam pants down in Pearl Harbor, bombed warships, factories, town, but Uncle Sam's production lines were speeded up so they spat out all the gear he needed, tanks, planes, guns, atom bombs, while the GIs spread out across the world, zapping bad guys. While limey airmen slunk into air raid shelters, and Messerschmitts chased Spitfires helter-skelter, the Battle of Britain was, hold your breath, won against all odds, all on his own, by one pilot, the champion Top Gun of the Yanks, Luftwaffe's scourge, squadron leader, Tom Hanks. On Yankee know-how you can put reliance. Americans are the world leaders in science. Physicists like little Mike Faraday from Ashland, Wisconsin, daring to play with magnets, wires, poof, electricity. Or Chuck Darwin, known for his eccentricity in Elk, Kansas, who solved the human genome studying tortoises in his kiddie tree home. Zach Newton, too, who kept an apple orchard in Kellogg, Idaho, and sometimes tortured wasps for wrecking his fruit, was once caught napping. Apple falls on his head. Zach jumps up clapping, shouts, "Got it! Gravity! The universe powered by gravity!" His bent old nurse smiles at him. Isaac, you're so funny. Gravity, schmavity, will it make money?" Thus Uncle Sam's have, throughout history, worked for world progress, science, liberty, above all, movies which convey the truth and nothing but the truth to the world's youth, reminding us that there are always yet more facts to learn. By the way, don't forget how Chris Colombo, born in Omaha, by missing his way, discovered America.